Welcome back to Life Insurance Today. I'm your host, Edward Pritchett, and we are here to empower agents through information. That's the thing that has helped me grow my practice, my business over the past 15 years, is the more I know, the better I can do. And as we're thinking about that, we have to understand a little bit more about our clients. What's going on with our clients today? I want to spend the next few minutes just talking about this idea about advertising. How often are your clients advertised, and think of advertising as being sold to, right? How often does that happen? So let's take a little journey back, okay? We have to set up this whole thing when it comes to advertising, because advertising and sales has not always happened in the way that it does in this day and age. I mean, you go far enough back, it was I have I have a pig that you want to eat, you have some vegetables that I want, let's trade, and boom, we're done, right? That's how it used to work. You go out and find or grow or barter and trade to get what you needed to live and survive. But things change, things always do. And as things have changed, there's a new way that human beings learn to barter and trade. We invented this thing called money, right? And now we start to earn money, and then we're gonna sell or give our money to get the things that we want, right? And in order for people to gather more money, they had to figure out a way to get more people to buy what they had, right? And this is where salesmanship came from. You had to sell your thing. You had to start to advertise what you had to offer to other people. And so we're not gonna go too far back, because we can really take a deep dive on that. But for you as an agent, how are you selling, and how are you selling to people that are being advertised right now? And I would imagine that most of you are selling in one of the models that has been taught over the past 120 years or so. The first real sales system, the AIDA sales model, came about in the late 1800s, 1896-ish or so. And so if you think back to the 1900s, this was a world where advertising was pretty limited, right? You saw a sign or a poster, when you were walking through the city, you saw a storefront, and you saw the nice shiny ham that was hanging up there. This is what it looks like. This is how you were advertised to, is you kind of just saw the good or service that you thought you wanted, or you may be thinking about. And if it looked appealing enough, you maybe went in and talked to the store owner or the clerk about potentially buying it. But that's about it. You had some newspapers, there were some magazines, some billboards, but it was still very limited in the 1900s. Let's move on to the 1930s. And in the 1930s, you see this ideal of actually talking to somebody about what you had to sell and offer through radio. Radio was huge, right? Fireside chats. You had families would gather around the radio to listen at the end of the day. Advertisers and salespeople quickly learned, this is a way I can reach captive audiences, right? Let me get a little jingle, get a little commercial, and put it out there and talk about the benefits of my particular product. But still, it wasn't pervasive, right? It was at certain times of the day when the family had the opportunity to sit in front of that radio and listen to those ads. Now, 1960s, right? Some revolutionary times. We have television, right? Television was there already, but now television was in its prime. We have the sitcoms, the shows that people had to watch every single day, and the dynamic way of being able to engage with their audience. Now it's not just hearing the advertising, now they get to see it, right? They get to experience it in a way. This is, if you remember, even if you were around, if you remember back in those days, there were some weird things that they tried, all these different things when it comes to how can I help the audience interact with what they're seeing on TV. And that became the primary source of advertising for the next 20 years, all right? Now we move from the primarily print and TV to the dawn of the digital age. When you first logged into AOL, you got to check your AOL Messenger and your emails, and now we have the digital age upon us. Now we have another source for advertisers and salespeople to interact with potential clients. The digital age spawned something that none of us ever saw. where the ramp up of how many times you're advertised to on a daily basis, it didn't just double, but it tripled in the span of just 10 years. That brings us to today, right? The 2000s. Now it's beyond just the digital age, now it's the digital social media age, right? So it's not just being advertised to by professionals. Now you get to get advertised to by your friends, selling the next greatest thing. Like this is their fourth side hustle, and they're gonna advertise to you through their social media posting where they're sharing about their personal lives, but at the same time saying, hey, but you should also check out this product that I have, right? We have TikTok, we have Instagram, we have Twitter or X, we have Facebook, the list goes on and on. Every other week, there is a new platform being created. Let me run through some of the numbers of what this is created for us, okay? There was a 2007 study done, and it estimated that the average American in 1900 encountered around 250 advertising messages a day. That number grew to 1,500 by the 30s, 2,500 by the 60s, 5,000 by the 1990s. By 2000, it was estimated, and this is just at the beginning of the social media revolution, by the 2000s, it was estimated that we were receiving an average of 6,000 advertising messages a day. And some of you may be saying, well, there's no way. There's no way that it's that many. But think about what an advertising message is. Every time you see those golden arches, you're being advertised to. Every time you see a logo on somebody's t-shirt, shoes, shorts, right? Back in the 30s, you didn't have Nike printed on everybody's t-shirt. They just had white t-shirts, right? You didn't know who made that t-shirt, right? We're being advertised and sold to in ways that we hadn't even thought about in the 1900s, 30s, 40s, 50s. And now let's look at today, 2023. The current estimates is that the average person is exposed to 9,000 to 10,000 advertising messages per day, with some estimates saying it could be as much as 15,000. It all depends on how much time you're on that little, the scrolly thing, right? So what does this mean? Why am I sharing this information with you, right? And it's information that you're probably saying, hey, I knew that, or I know that. So are you using that? Are you using that information to grow your business? And I'm speaking to the insurance agents, but this goes across the board in sales, right? Yes, you can go and compete in that market. You can compete in the advertising market. You can buy all the ads you want to on Facebook, social media, and guess what? You're gonna be right there with everybody else who's advertising, and you're gonna get clients to come into you, right? But again, you're competing with a whole bunch of people for that. What differentiates you from those salespeople? How are you making yourself stand out when it comes time to have the conversation with the lead that you generate through your advertising? And this is what separates people who are winning today in sales versus the people who are just spending a lot of money on advertising and feeling very excited and happy because they got a whole bunch of followers and viewers and this, that, and the other. Those things don't matter whenever it comes down to the metrics of, am I able to connect with my client, help them figure out what their situation is, and then dive into a process of conversation where I can diagnose a problem, make sure that they figure out what's going on, what's the difference between where they are and where they want to be, and then show them how they can solve their own problem, because that's the conversation that people are looking to have. The old way of advertising, where there wasn't that much advertising going on, the whole AIDA method, right? Get their attention, right? That worked for a period of time, but we've moved past that. Now, everyone is requesting everyone else's attention. So the only place that I'm gonna give attention is where I find meaningful conversation and dialogue. And that's why it's important to understand the past, what's gotten us here, and where we currently are, so that as you're working on developing skills, the kind of skills that you can learn here at Life Insurance Today that we talk about when we get into sales training and product training, these skills are what's gonna allow you to have the conversations with your clients that lead to them saying, you know what, I think now is the time to get that taken care of. So I hope this little trip down memory lane when it comes to advertising has been helpful. And it sparked something to say, hey, let me think about that a little bit. Let me dive into that a little bit more and see, am I doing the things that I need to do in today's era to be a great marketer and a great seller of the products and services that I have for my clients. This is what's going to help you become the best insurance agent you can be as we go into this new year. 2024 is right around the corner. We're going right into it. And as we do that, let's keep in mind where our clients are, who our clients are, how we can reach them, and how we can best engage them in the conversational dialogue of sales that they're looking for today. This has been Edward Pritchett, Life Insurance Today. Make sure you click that link below, subscribe, let us know how we can be of service to you. Share this with someone who is maybe struggling with sales right now, whether it's in the insurance industry or any other industry, because this can help them to elevate their career to that next level. We are empowering agents in all industries through more information. The more information that you have and start using, the better you're going to be able to become. Thanks for joining. We'll talk to you soon.